What a great crowd. Thank you for being here. I mean, it really is impressive that all of you are here on a Sunday afternoon when you could be home relaxing and having a cup of coffee on the couch. And so I know it's important to you because when I looked over and I saw this young mom with her newborn, how old is your baby? 10 days. Wow. Wow. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So thank you, Crystal, for that introduction and for sharing your story. You know, it's people like you who Joe is fighting for every day in the White House. So on Election Day in 2012, most eyes were fixed on the presidential election. But 1,000 miles away from the White House, here in Wisconsin, you all made history. Yes, you elected the first openly gay person to serve in the United States Senate. And as someone said, she was also the first woman ever from Wisconsin to be a United States Senator. And I love how you love her. You have to feel the love. I mean, from fiercely defending the Affordable Care Act to champion Made in America rules, she is an invaluable senator. And we must and we will re-elect her. We love you. We love you. And I know that we have several state and local elected officials here with us, so thank you for being here with us today and for all that you do for Wisconsin. And it's no accident. Yeah, let's give them a round of applause. So it's no accident that Wisconsin is one of the places we've chosen to launch Women for Biden this weekend. Because 4 years ago, Wisconsin, you put us in the White House. Joe and I will never forget how hard you worked or how much you gave, and we are grateful. So thank you all very much for being here today. So when I was growing up in a suburb outside of Philadelphia and dreamed of what my life would become, I knew that I wanted two things: a marriage like my parents that was strong and loving and full of laughter, and I wanted a career. So I set out to find those two things, but my path was just a bit meandering. It was the 70s, some of you may remember. Oh, okay, one or two, just one or two. So if you remember, it was Vietnam, love beads, equal rights. I wore my hair down to the middle of my waist. Yeah, they're all raising their hands, yeah. And so did most of the men I dated. True. So one day I was asked out on a date, just out of the blue. And that evening, a handsome young senator showed up at my door. Well, like we said, it was the 70s. You know, bell-bottoms, clogs, tie-dye. So I opened the door, and I took one look at his perfect suit and his leather loafers. And I thought, thank God, it's only one date. Well, one date eventually turned into a marriage proposal. And, well, thank you. I know, 48 years. Thank you. So if I'm really being honest, it was 5 proposals. Because this was not a part of my plan. And more than that, it wasn't just my heart that was on the line. As many of you probably know, years before Joe's wife and daughter were killed in a car accident. And the boys, Bo and Hunter, had to be in the hospital for many months. And after all that they had lost, I knew that if I said yes to Joe's marriage proposal, it had to be forever. So eventually I realized that my love for Joe and the boys outweighed any fears I had, and I said yes. But I have to tell you what Joe said next. He said, "I promise you, your life will never change." Of course, that proved to be wildly untrue. Life is change for all of us. You know, we learn and we grow. We overcome heartbreaks that we never could have imagined. We find wisdom and grit and empathy. But in the last few years, we've seen a different kind of change, a rupture in the foundations of our democracy, a pullback of the hard-won progress we've made. We are the first generation, and I think someone said this, in a half a century, to give our daughters a country with fewer rights than we all had. Think about it, book bans, voting laws gutted, court decisions that strip away our most basic freedoms. But circumstance is not destiny. 8 years ago, Republicans flipped Wisconsin by a hair, a fraction of a percentage point. And they thought they could do it again in 2020. They poured in, resources and sent in surrogates. And they thought that they could out-organize you. But you proved them wrong. You talked to your friends and your neighbors. You called strangers and you reminded them to vote. You put on masks during the pandemic and hopped on Zooms. You raised money and then you changed minds. You gave everything you had to make Joe Biden your president, and you won. Women put Joe Biden in the White House, and women are going to do it again. Because we know what's at stake. I've been so proud of how Joe has placed women at the center of his agenda, starting with the historic pick for Vice President Kamala Harris. President Biden is defending reproductive rights, fighting for a national law that would restore Roe's protections. And yes, that means protecting IVF and access to contraception. And he's accomplished so much more, making childcare more affordable, expanding access to maternal health services, appointing Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, and passing historic gun laws. I saw him write by hand the Violence Against Women Act, and then get it passed at a time when talking about domestic violence was taboo. Joe has spent his entire career lifting up women. But Donald Trump, he spent a lifetime tearing us down and devaluing our existence. He mocks women's bodies. He disrespects our accomplishments and brags about assault. Now he's bragging about killing Roe v. Wade. Just the other day, he took credit again for enabling states to pass cruel abortion bans that are taking away the rights of women to make their own health care decisions. How far will he go? When is he going to stop You know the answer. He won't. Yes. When we stop him. He said it himself this week in his own words. He's considering a national abortion ban. Donald Trump is dangerous to women and to our families. We simply cannot let him win. We can't wake up that day after the election like we did in 2016, terrified of the future ahead, thinking, oh my God, what just happened? What are we going to do now? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We must re-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And you know how we're going to do this? Just look around you. Look around you at all the women here and men who, thank you for coming. So, women for Biden-Harris is how we're going to do it. We're going to do what we did in 2020 and in 2022. We're going to talk to our friends about why this election is so important. We're going to tell them what's at stake. We're going to sign up for phone banks and canvassing shifts. We're going to meet this moment as if our rights are at risk, because they are. As if our democracy is on the line, because it is. We, all of us, all of you will decide our future. Because here's the thing about men like Donald Trump. They underestimate our power because they don't understand it, right? They see how we lead through collaboration, by empowering others. And they think, they look at it as weakness. But we know that community is our strength. They see empathy and compassion as our vulnerability. They think that our love for our children makes us soft. But we know that those are the lives that light a fire in our hearts, that make us fierce and unafraid. They don't know that our to-do lists are our battle maps. And when our bodies are on the line, when our daughters' futures are at stake, when our country and its freedoms hang in balance, we are immovable and we are unstoppable. That's what power looks like. That is our power, and it's time we show them once again just what we can do by re-electing Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. By deciding the future we want and the future we need. And when we do, Wisconsin, nothing and no one can stand in our way. Thank you, Wisconsin. Thank you.